Okay, let's get started. Welcome to the Murray City Planning Commission meeting. It is February 2nd, 2023. And we have, let's see, a couple things. This meeting is being streamed live on the internet. And so if you're watching it on the internet, you can submit comments via email at planningcommission@murray.utah.gov. There will be a time for those that are here where they can come up to the podium here and give a comment. That will be a public comment section. When you come up to the podium, speak into the microphone, state your name and address, and it may not sound like it is projecting your voice, but it allows the people at home to hear what you're saying. So please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Let's introduce our commissioners. Yeah, say. Silence your phones if you have them. Thank you. I should have a cheat sheet, but I don't have it. To our left, we have Travis Ney, and then we have Lisa Milkevich. We have Ned Hacker. I'm Jake Pearson. To my right, we have Maren Patterson, and we have Michael Richards. And with staff, we have Mustafa Al-Janabi and Zachary Smallwood. Before I go to business item number 1, did I miss anything? Okay.
You're
good. Our business item number 1 is election of a chair and vice chair for 2023.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Please.
I would like to make a motion that Jake Pearson be nominated for chair.
I'll second that motion.
Wait, I went to the
He's in
bathroom.
We're laughing.
Okay, so we have a motion that Jake Pearson is the chair, and we do have a second.
I guess I have
So
to roll call
go
this.
do a roll
and I
call.
think we might have multiples, so. Okay,
I think it'll be.
Commissioner Ney,
Yes.
Commissioner Richards,
Yes.
Commissioner Milkevich,
Yes.
Commissioner Hacker,
Yes.
Commissioner Patterson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Pearson.
Yes.
Okay,
Well, I don't, what do you say when you don't want to say thank you? You say, no,
You're
thank you.
welcome.
bless your heart.
Mr. Chair, I would like to make a motion to nominate Lisa Milkevich for vice chair.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that one as well.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for Lisa Milkevich as vice chair. Zach?
Okay, Commissioner Patterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Richards,
Yes.
Commissioner Milkevich,
Under one condition, that Jake will try to inform me when he's not going to be here in advance.
I will do that.
Yes.
I'll try.
okay, Commissioner Ney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hacker,
Yes.
and newly elected Chair Pearson.
Yes. Excuse me while I try to get a pen out, because I wasn't planning on actually running the meeting. So,
This is the most contentious time of the year for this group.
okay, well, that's done, and I guess we will move on to our agenda item number 2, which is the approval of minutes from January 5th. Was there any issues with those?
Nope.
No.
There's one clerical correction.
So we,
No, not the minutes. That's why I shouldn't be the
Finding
chair.
effects.
I'm jumping ahead to the findings. Sorry.
okay.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from our January 5th, 2023 meeting as written.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Patterson. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, does anybody have any conflicts of interest?
No.
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 No, I don't either. Now we're going to move on to number 4, finding of facts for the Murray Armory and the Indy Clover. And I do know we had some changes, just a small change to the Murray Armory that we talked about in our pre-meeting. Does anybody want to do a motion?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman. Make a motion that Planning Commission approve the finding of facts for Murray Armory renovation conditional use permit with the correction we made in our pre-meeting to strike out the secondhand merchant business sentence, and finding of facts for the Indy Clover conditional use permit.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Hacker. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's move on to number 5, which is a conditional use permit for Stone Mountain Casting and Design. And this is going to be Zachary Smallwood presenting.
I'll give you a note. We ask if the applicant's here.
Oh, yeah. Is the applicant here? I always feel like when we ask that, then they think they need to come up right then.
Yeah,
and
no,
so-
I get it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get it.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, so yes, this is an application from Stone Mountain Castings and Design at 4084 South Commerce Drive, located here. Whoa, let's try that again. Located in the highlighted box. Something that's important down the road, so I'll share with you. This orange dashed line is Murray City boundary, so it actually goes here, here, and then back here and here. So it literally is just that carve out of that one property that is in Mill Creek City. So that is important in the story later. So it's a 0.26 acre site, approximately 7,000 square foot building, and the request is for a construction contractor's business. As I kind of mentioned in the pre-meeting, the applicant does cast their own mantles and all that. And that's a permitted use in this zone. What they're here for is for the contractor use for the installation of those. It is in the MG zone, which is our manufacturing general, and it does allow for contractor uses subject to a conditional use permit. So a couple things we're just going to review. Largely it's just parking and open space and landscaping. I provided what the applicant showed for the floor plan. This is the first floor plan. You can see the shop space, couple offices, showroom out front, and then there's a small upstairs with an office, a couple offices and a restroom. So parking for the property. So as you can see, there are no available parking spots except for kind of hanging out here. In the listing, when they purchased the property, it was indicated that they do have access to these 13 stalls here. And we're okay with that. We can do shared parking like that. But we do request, since this is outside Murray City, we don't know what those parking requirements are for that use. So we would just like to see just a letter from that property owner saying that they do permit those shared parking spaces. So, yeah, that's regarding the parking. Open space and landscaping, so they have more than they need. They're required to have 1 tree, 2 5-gallon shrubs, and 4 1-gallon shrubs. They have a lot more than that. So we're not asking for additional parking. However, we would make comment, because we do know that there's a lot of landscaping here, that if they do decide to reduce some of that landscaping, which is totally within their right to do so, just to make sure that it still maintains within our landscaping standards. And they can definitely always call if they have questions or comments about that. So staff is recommending that the Planning Commission approve the conditional use permit for the contractor's business, subject to the 4 conditions on your screen. Any questions or comments at this point?
I do just have a comment. Oh, sorry. That we kind of talked about in the pre-meeting. But I think it's just worth kind of saying in this meeting that this, zone has a lot of allowed uses, and that this business has to come not because they're casting mantles, but because of the contractor. Contractor's business, I guess, to get a business license for that. So I just think that, especially in this zone, that should really be looked at as some of our ordinances about contractors and where they're allowed and having to come before the plan commission, I think would be a really good thing to review, so.
Great. Thank you, that's great.
Any other questions for Zach? Okay, thank
you.
you very much. Could the applicant please come up and to the podium and please state your name and address?
My name is Kirk Olson. What address?
Any address.
Any address is fine.
I don't even know the address. It's 4084 South Commerce Drive.
Okay, thank you for coming. Have you read these conditions, these 4 conditions?
Yeah.
And are you able to comply with them?
Yes.
Okay, great. Do you have any other comments or information for the commission you'd like to give us or tell us?
I have a question. What he brought up was the parking spot stuff. And so it's not in Murray City. The parkings aren't, but we were kind of told that they were ours when we were buying it, and then once we got it, we realized that they're not really ours, I guess. So those parking spots don't belong to us. That's correct. That's right. I mean, they're not ours.
Well,
We can have you come up and, yeah, you can you can come up to the podium and clarify if you like.
For clarification, I'm pretty sure that this little
Yeah.
parcel right
Can you just give us your name and address as well?
I'm Dan Thomas, 40
4084 South 300,
74
okay.
South Commerce.
Yep,
So
okay.
I just own the other side of the building.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure that that parcel right there is a separate parcel with like the first 8 parking slots on it. And I believe you should have bought it at the same time as you bought the rest of it.
That's what we were
Okay.
told. But
This-
then
I
you
know
see
that
this, and it's like,
the
what?
ones on the bottom half are part of the other parcel
Yeah, these ones down here.
that are separate.
Yes, for sure. Okay.
Okay, I think we'll have Zach come up and talk about that after this. Do you have any other questions
that's
or
it.
comments?
Well, and as far as contractors go, we just have a contractor's license, but we're not doing anything like, we just install the mantles. We're not even actually making them here.
Yeah.
We just get them delivered here and we just install them, so it's not like anything, we don't make anything at all.
Okay.
really, So,
Does the commission have any questions for the
I do.
applicant? Yeah, go ahead.
So Zach talked a little bit about the landscaping in front. Do you have some idea of what you might do in front as far as eliminating some of that landscape that really hides the building from any signage?
well, it was really overgrown, when we've already actually cut it back quite a bit. So we were just gonna kind of cut it back a little bit off the corner so we could put a little bit of a sign on the corner there. And then we were just gonna put a sign on the side of the building because you don't really see the front that much anyway. So we were gonna leave it mostly the way it is. Unless you'd like us to cut some stuff down. I mean, we just kind
Murray's
of,
a city of trees, so,
yeah, I mean, we like trees, so.
all right, thank you.
We kind of put 2 little like fire pit things inside there, so it kind of looks like a little country area, and so we like it.
Would you like to come up to and, yeah, come up. Please state your name and address.
I'm Mandy Olson. I'm associated with the 4084 South Commerce Drive as well. I do have a question. Now seeing it on the previous slide where it shows the Murray boundaries. So I've been having issues with drainage on the street. And when I've contacted Murray, they say it's Mill Creek. When I talk to Mill Creek, they say it's Murray. And so if you go back to that one where the overgrown trees are shown, you can even see in the street that all this water is always there. And it's gross all the way down that street. And then there's no parking signs as well, like everywhere until you get to that building. And then those no parking signs are gone. And then, so there's an auto dealer or something that parks these broken down cars every day in front of that whole strip where it doesn't have the no parking. So I was trying to find out if I could, one, put no parking signs where there should be no parking, or kind of what we could do about the water having a street drain.
Okay. We'll have Zach talk about those two when he
Okay,
comes back up.
great, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Zach, can you maybe talk about the parking? I mean, I'm assuming we're going to need either some type of documentation saying they own that or some type of agreement for the parking. And then can you talk about the drainage?
Correct. So yeah, the way our mapping works, the way this mapping works, for example, it's only going to show the parcels that are within Murray City. So if there is another parcel here, I don't know. That's going to be something that they would have to, I mean, I can find out by looking at the county records, but I can't do that right this second. But that is something for them to look at. And yeah, so that's kind of what that is. I was under the assumption, because this is all pretty much one property, that it was just one property.
Okay, sure.
So that's the parking situation.
So I'm just gonna shorten what I think they need to do. They either need to make sure they own that parcel or have an agreement with whoever does own that parcel, if it's a separate parcel.
Exactly.
Or that whole property to park their vehicles, and that's what we'll need for condition 4.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just need to see that as staff.
So even if they don't own that parcel, they can still make an agreement. They can still get their parking
Right.
by having an agreement with that building.
Right.
That would
Exactly.
just be the way that they could solve it if it's
Exactly.
not theirs.
And
that
if they
own.
do end up owning that parcel, they just need to show us ownership, and that meets the need.
And that would be more than adequate.
Is this how often is there like what is that property? Do we know what that is?
It's probably somebody that just didn't want to incorporate into,
When they got incorporated?
yeah.
So
they-
it's just one
when
little
they got
cutout of Mill
annexed.
Creek?
Yep.
Okay.
They probably elected not to be annexed in.
But then the big question is, when you have a property like that, where does the city line, is it curb and gutter out of city or right past the curb and gutter?
That's a great question. So another thing that's kind of weird looking is that, so you can kind of see here that this dashed orange line, which should constitute our border. So it looks like up until their property, and don't quote me on this, I'm not an engineer, so I don't know for certain. We'll have to talk to Trey in engineering. But this looks like Murray owns half of the right-of-way and Mill Creek owns the other half. But then you come down here to Commerce and the boundary line ends at the property line. So that shows Mill Creek owns the entire right-of-way. So this is all just kind of a lesson in city weirdness.
Yeah.
And how city boundaries are very weird and complex things.
So Zach, can they contact the planning office, and then you can tell them who to talk to at the city so they can get the
Yes.
answer they need?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and Mandy, you have my email. You can email me, or I can. I'll try to remember to email you in the morning of who you need to contact for that. So.
Yeah, because you can even see standing water in this little
Yeah, you
lovely
can-
picture.
Yeah, you can see it there. So
But
yeah,
it's probably just a forgotten property in Mill Creek too, because it's a one
Most
little
likely.
cutout.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, then, I mean, and there's so many questions about that, the no parking. Is it because Murray's has designated at some point, there's no parking longer, and those are not soon signs that were removed because it's not Murray property, it's Mill
Yeah.
Creek property?
yeah,
And
and
then we
that's
can't enforce or change things in Mill Creek.
yeah. That's so there's there's not much. It's a weird situation. So
Zach, can you also talk about the wanting to put signs on the street?
yeah, I mean there are setback requirements. You have to be like 2 feet off the property line. Oh, sorry, the no parking signs.
Yes.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about their business sign. So that again would go through Trey. He works with the streets department, streets division, and they put in the no parking signs.
So they could request a sign, but they wouldn't be able to put the one in themselves.
Yeah, don't put one in yourself. Let
And
the
also,
city do it.
if it is the other property, they would have to request it through
Mill Creek.
City
Yeah.
and what their street sign parking requirements
Exactly.
are. Could be
Yep.
totally different.
Yep.
Okay. Did anybody have questions for Zach?
No.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, we will now, let's open up the public comment period. So if anybody would like to make a public comment, they can come up to the podium or they can email the address I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting. Please state your name and address.
Right. Dan Thomas, 4084 West Commerce. I own the backside of the building as well as American Stone right next door. So it is on the Murray side of things. We have been talking to the city streets guys, and they worked out with us. We actually just ordered some signs that have the rule, which is no overnight parking. And that is, so we're just putting them up on our fence. And then you're gonna get in really good contact with the police, and then you just keep calling them whenever guys stick out there for, a couple of days in a row. It's kind of easy during the winter because they're, cars are all fogged up and you know that they're not moved, and so the police will be pretty quick. It is an issue though, because a lot of the times we'll call up and the police will say, out of our jurisdiction. We say, no, it really is on the line, but it's in your jurisdiction. No, it's not. And you have to make 4 or 5 calls till you get somebody that really knows the rule of the line, and then they'll come and they'll take care of it. So anyways, the reason that I'm here tonight is that I have the backside of that building and was just a little bit concerned because it is our we have an easement across the backside of the building to be able to have a escape route. And since they've moved in, they've been busy getting everything all set up, and it's been blocked off. And so I know that if the fire marshal were to come by, they'd be giving me a hard time because my fire escape is blocked. And so I just wanted it brought up that we make sure that, we can be able to get out of there if we need to.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any other comments?
No, other than that, happy to have more people
Okay.
in the community.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other public comments? Okay, nothing via email, Zach? Okay, if there's no more comments, then we'll close the public comment period and have Zach come back up.
So this one's pretty easy, actually. So if this does get approved this evening, then they'll go through the business license process, and the fire marshal actually goes out and does an inspection. So they will go out and make sure that there's a clear route through. And they know the city pretty well, so I'm sure they know your business and stuff. So they will look at that, and they'll be able to clear those out too.
So Zach, just for my own understanding, easements stay with the property, right? So even if it's sold, that easement would still be applying to
Correct.
what was already there?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. And does anybody have any questions for Zach?
Well, and the last one, I'm sure along all of our edges, there's gray areas to where the borders are. And is there anything we can do or should be done to help public service personnel understand where the boundaries are? I don't know. Or this boundary. Might be too much to ask all boundaries.
I don't know. I would probably just say training, showing them where they are, where the actual borders are on maps. 'Cause yeah, like I showed you, just to the south, it's along the property line, but up there, looks like it's at the midway point. So, and the half width is what we usually call that, so.
This is how the sausage is made, and sometimes it's ugly.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, just like you guys saw with like Van Winkle Crossing and stuff, like that little thumb that comes out of Murray, but pretty much everything is surrounded by Mill Creek. So it's the exact same type of thing. This is just more at a small scale, so.
Thank you. Any other questions for Zach? Thank you. Okay. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about, or we could entertain a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion the planning commission approve a conditional use permit to allow the construction contractor's business at the property address 4084 South Commerce Drive, subject to the 4 conditions listed.
We have a motion from Commissioner Hacker. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Commissioner Milkovich. Zach?
I'm getting my workout today. I was just sitting there. I sat down. I was like, I have to get back up and do the roll call. Jeez, I just stood here. Commissioner Hacker.
Yes.
Commissioner Milkovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Richards.
Yes.
Commissioner Ney.
Yes.
Commissioner Patterson.
Yes.
And Chair Pearson.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, congratulations. Your conditional use permit has been approved, and welcome to Murray. We look forward to seeing your business. Okay, let's move on to number 6. This is a tattoo studio at Dark Woodland Inc., at 150 West 4800 South, and we're going to have Mustafa Al-Janabi present.
Hello, everyone. I hope I'll make this actually quicker. Okay. So the property is located at 150 West, 4800 South. It is on number 30. As you can see, this entire strip is actually part of the entire building, but the building itself would be just located over here, this little small building. Going forward, the building itself is within the MG zone, manufacturer general. The applicant itself is just requesting a conditional use to operate the tattoo parlor within another business. The other business is actually being a gym, so most of the things are actually already set up. It's just requiring the approval and probably a little bit of an extra space in the parking. So there is like one parking area per 200 square feet, but since the area itself is like 390, the total will be just 2 parking spaces required for that one slot, and that's about it. The floor plan itself, a landscape won't be required just because it's already been there, and it's not a frontage, so it should not require any landscaping. This is the floor plan itself. It is the number 30, and it will be on the second floor of the already existing business, which is the Sweaty Pig Gym. Our recommendation is to actually get approved of the conditional use, as long as it meets all of these 3 requirements, which is the business licensing, the fire code, and just the other obtaining permits, and that's about it.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions, comments, concerns?
I have a quick question. So I drove by and I wasn't quite sure. So to enter the business, you have to go through Sweaty Pig to go inside to the
Yes,
tattoo?
you would. That's the entire thing.
So I'm assuming then they have to have similar business hours. So,
Yep.
okay. Thanks.
Anything else?
Okay, nothing else. Thanks, Mustafa, I appreciate it. Okay, is the applicant present? Please come up to the podium and state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Nicole Waldrum. I know that specific property by 3150 West Street. I know it's a little bit different, but that is the correct address. So.
Okay. And have you read the conditions?
Mm-hmm.
And are you able to comply with them?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Do you have any comments you'd like to make for the commission?
Nothing in particular, honestly. I'm just really excited to get officially started, so.
Great. Do the commissioners have any questions for the applicant?
Can you tell us about what we just talked about, that having to go through the Sweaty Pig to get to your business?
Sure. When you go in, you take a left, a small right, and you go up the stairs. I always, if there is someone coming in, I usually meet them at the door and walk them through, make sure that the airway is clear, because, some of the guys down at the stairs do like to move things around from time to time, and I do like to make sure that that area is clear. But I do try and lead them up, and the room itself is very clean and professional, so it's a completely different world than the lower floor, but.
And you feel like you have a good working relationship with the...
Yeah, no, they're really good friends. I was actually I went to that gym regularly before I found out that they had completely renovated the second floor, and had just kind of put their feelers out looking for people to rent up that space. So it would be me and a physical therapist up there, so.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, we will now open up the public comment period. So if anybody would like to come up to the podium, or if you'd like to email a comment to planningcommission@murray.utah.gov, you can do that. I see no comments here. Zach, no emails? Okay, we're going to go ahead and close the public comment period. I guess we can talk about anything we want, or if there's a motion, we can do that.
Well, I like that I can get a workout, a tattoo, and go to the physical therapist all in.
It's
I
true.
mean, like, that's
One
it.
shot.
It is efficient.
A unique business model, you know?
With that, I'll make a motion that we approve a conditional use permit to allow a tattooing business on the property address 150 West, 4800 South, unit number 30, subject to conditions 1 through 3.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Ney. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second from Commissioner Richards. Zach, are you going to do the roll call
Yeah.
for us? go
Yeah,
ahead.
it took me like 2 years before I started doing votes, so I offered if he.
It's nice of you.
Yeah. So Commissioner Ney,
Yes.
Commissioner Richards,
Yes.
Commissioner Milkovich,
Yes.
Commissioner Hacker,
Yes.
Commissioner Patterson,
Yes.
and Chair Pearson.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, that has passed, so congratulations. Good luck on your new business endeavor, and we hope you like being here in Murray. Okay, I think that was our last thing on the agenda. We have announcements and questions. Zach, do we have any announcements or questions?
Nope, we kind of went over them in the pre-meeting, but there's no meeting on the 16th. So I was really excited that like Mustafa or Jared and Susan was going to have to come while I was in Hawaii, but now it's all canceled, so you all get the night off while I'm in
You're
Hawaii.
just bragging
so
that you're going to
boo.
Hawaii.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be in Mexico.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. So, no, I don't really have anything else unless you guys have any questions.
Do we have any sense of when the PF Chang's over at the mall is going to be done?
I have no idea. It's been sitting there for like a year. I don't know. I know.
Really like the idea of some
know.
kung pao chicken for
Something
dinner
to do,
tonight.
yeah, it's something,
There's a pizza
I have
place
no
coming
idea.
too, right?
If I had to assume, it's something with the building division or they are kind of slow. So.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, then
Sorry, just really quick.
Can you come up to the podium real quick and just state your name?
Sorry,
real
Dan
quick?
Thomas, 4070 South Commerce Drive. I had attended in a previous council meeting online and commented. Nobody ever looked at it. Nobody ever read it or used it. I chatted 10 times using the application and then gave up. And so hence I'm here physically, but you got to be careful because there were people, using the service before that it just didn't get read in. So just an FYI.
Yeah, thank
Just-
you.
Okay, thank you. Just so you know, the video is being broadcast on multiple platforms. So it's going on Facebook and on YouTube and on other platforms. And so comments made in those video chat below are not being looked at by anybody. And that's why at the beginning of the meeting, we mentioned that if you need to make a comment, that you need to email the Planning Commission at murray.utah.gov. But we try to publish that in multiple platforms, so as many people can watch it as possible. But I understand what you're saying. I've seen that before where there's
It doesn't
comments.
come across when you're on the platform.
On the
Yeah.
chat, on the video chat now.
I wonder if we can turn
Is
off
that something we could turn?
comments.
Yeah, could we turn the chat off on the Facebook maybe?
That's okay. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, that is
Might
good
be something we
feedback.
should look
that
at and see
I
if
will
we can turn
definitely look
those.
we just don't have someone to monitor it, I think.
One, we don't have anybody to monitor it, and
It might not make the
it gets
official record then.
because if somebody starts making comments outside of the open public
Right. We don't
hearing
actually want a
process,
free chat,
yeah,
right? during
it's
the
that
meeting.
free it's that free chat, and that gets just kind of into weird
Right.
gray area. So
Yeah, if there would be a way, I guess, that on those things that we could notify, if you want to make a comment, you have one way to do it.
Yeah.
And it's emailing this thing
Yep.
Yeah,
or
that-
attending in person.
Yeah.
For the record, I did email, didn't get caught,
To the planning commission? Yeah.
a day before.
Oh. Okay, that's different. Yeah, that's confusing.
Just an FYI.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. If there's no other business, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
7:06.
7:06.
Second.
Second. Oh,
We're adjourned.
aye.
Aye.
Me.